Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got a fabulous entrepreneur for you today, Arlene Cohen Miller, coming out of Colorado. She's the CEO of Jewel Consultancy, which we will find out all the what it is later in the show. Um, we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, self care, self love, breaking through barriers, removing mental blocks, and I'm really happy to have Arlene on the show. Welcome, Arlene.
Oh, thank you for having me here.
Yeah. So, to kick things off, talk about you and what you do, and I'm really excited to delve into the conversation.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I went to law school. I've had two law firms, sold them both. One is a solo practitioner in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, and one was in Longmont, Colorado, which is about 45 minutes northwest of Denver. Loved them. And while I was in the partnership, I obtained a diploma in mentoring and coaching and a diploma in transformational holistic counseling. And I was interested in, and I thought that it would really help me as an entrepreneur because I dealt with the marketing, I dealt with negotiating and settling cases, I had employees. So there's a lot of people that I had to deal with that I felt I could do a better job with. And those diplomas and degrees really helped a lot. And I just got tired of the practice a lot after a while. It's pretty stressful and I wanted to do something different. And so now I am a work-life balance coach and also a transformational mentor.
Interesting. Yeah, it's quite. We get a lot of guests on the show doing the same thing. They were earlier in their lives, they were doctors and dentists, and they couldn't, the hopped off the hamster wheel and looking for more fulfilling avenues, and a lot of times a lot more financially rewarding as well. I just got off a phone call with another spiritual mentor and coach, and so the one thing that was talking about is this idea of letting go, and talk about how letting go releases the old and usually it's brings in bigger, better, more fulfilling opportunities.
Can you see me and hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Did you? I'm not sure if I was asking the question correctly, but talk about how.
No, you froze for a minute and I couldn't see you.
Yeah, talk about how letting go um, results in bigger, better, and sometimes more rewarding opportunities.
Well, lots of times, we just hold on to things. It's like it's the way it's always been. And the part of it says the personality or the ego doesn't like change, likes everything to stay the same. And that's not the way it is. And so I guess what I help people is to just more acknowledge that I am a soul having a human experience. And the greater bit of me loves change, loves to have new experiences. And what we have to do sometimes is that we get kids inside of us that get stuck. We've had traumatic things or things that felt traumatic when we were a kid or a teenager, and we didn't like that person's behavior then, our younger bit's behavior, and we sort of push them aside. And so a part of it is just being a responsible adult and loving these kids inside of ourselves that feel abandoned and betrayed and stuck and that they can't do things and that it won't work and all those things, but we know that it will. So we just sort of work with them to love them. This is just one way we can work with ourselves, so that they feel loved and supported and protected. And it's not their job to step forward and try new things and to step into maybe a new kind of business or an expanded business that we're already doing, that they're terrified about. But we, as the greater bit of ourselves, the adult, the soul, we're really excited. We know it feels like the right way to go, the right direction in our lives. So the first thing we can do is when we get this anxious feeling, it's like, how old is this person inside of me? Is she 6? Is she 8? Is she 14? What's she doing? What does she need from me? I'm talking for myself personally. For the men, it would be how he is. And we just love them, and sometimes it's tough love. And we just have to support these bits that feel stuck, that they have to do all this stuff, but it's not their job. Because oftentimes what we've done is we've just left them. We sort of floated away in our imagination. We haven't given them love. We sort of rejected them. And so, without being woo woo or anything, it's just a really easy way of loving and supporting ourselves so that we feel confident to step forward into whatever new we're choosing to do.
Yeah. Um, and the follow up question to that is, I love this idea of the ego gets in the way. Um, you talk about a lot of times with clients and in your work, you talk about moving beyond glass ceilings and releasing the old. How do you release the old?
Well, first of all, we have to acknowledge what the glass ceiling is, because the glass ceiling is when we say, I can go this far, but I can't go any further than that. So in our minds, we tell ourselves a story of how far we can go, and then we can't do anything more. And then we end up believing those stories. So the visualization is like I'm a hamster running around a wheel, going around and around and around and around. And what keeps us stuck is judgment. We're judging ourselves, we're judging others, we're maybe comparing ourselves to other people and saying, I can't do what they do. Whatever story we're telling ourselves, what keeps us stuck is the judgment. Because, of course, judgment is about fear. And there's only really two feelings in this world, fear and love. And so we get stuck in the fear. So basically, what I help people to do is to release the judgment. It's not that hard to do. It's just like we feel we can't let it go, but really we're choosing not to. And so it's just a way of learning how to be kinder and more patient and tolerant and compassionate with ourselves. And one way we can do that is to recognize, okay, what is the voice that's talking in my ear that tells me that I can't do this or I won't succeed at that? That's our inner critic. And to start working with our inner coach. Now, our inner coach, we know how to do this because we do it for other people. We do it for other people all the time. We're happy to support them and champion them and help them to step forward. Whether it's our kids, with our friends, or with people that we're close to, even with our peers or associates, we do it for other people. So all we have to do is take those skills and turn around and give it to ourselves and start nurturing ourselves and championing ourselves and supporting ourselves. Sometimes it's tough love. It's just like, get your head out of a dark place. You can do this. And then we step forward. So those are a few of the simple ways and tools that anyone can start working with to get off that judgment wheel and start treating ourselves with more kindness, dignity, respect, and tolerance.
Yeah, interesting. That's an interesting take on releasing, because a lot of different. Yeah, it's like kind of releasing the old negative emotions. Next question is a lot of the audience, are doctors, and they suffer from compassion fatigue leading to burnout, or they're chronic people pleasers, or just have trouble saying no. How do you what are some good techniques for creating boundaries? And recently I've been working a lot on intention setting and boundary setting, and that's really um, avoided a lot of negative situations and people once you start to set up these types of boundaries.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows about boundaries where you are saying, I will not do this. This is where I draw the line. Where I work with people with boundaries is more on the energetic level. And what I want to share with your audience is that first and foremost, we don't set our boundaries by how other people are. If they're working with patients and clients, we set our boundaries. We don't set our boundaries by how we are. I'm sorry, we set them by how the other person is. So my boundaries when I set them is that I'm only open to love, like unconditional love, love that has no conditions on it or something higher. And I'll talk about how to do that if you want me to. But the person that we're stepping into the room with, how are they? Are they in a place where their heart is open, they're being kind and compassionate, and we can loosen our boundaries a little bit? Or are they really upset, triggered, and I really have to have really strong, clear boundaries? Because when we have boundaries that are like, I could visualize like I'm in this golden bubble of protection. It's like my sacred space. And the only thing that can come in is this higher aspect of love. Everything is sort of bounced off to its source. So what I can do if I'm a doctor with my patients and my staff and the people I work with, I can be empathetic, I can be compassionate, I can be listening, but I am not allowing other people's negative and imbalanced energies, their fear based patterns and programs, to come into my energy field because that's just going to drag me down. I'm going to feel like crap because I am taking on their stuff. And I'm not helping them and I'm not helping myself when I do that. Because the only thing that we can do is to change ourselves. We can't transmute and transform into love the negative patterns and feelings of other people. Only they can do it for themselves. If we take it on, we're depriving them of their learning. So it's really compassionate to do that. And we do it with our family as well, too. We can hold a compassionate, loving space for them without allowing them to dump in our field. And also, what patients can do is that they might feel really crappy. You might be a clearer, brighter source of love, and they want to tap into you and suck your positive energy. And that's not okay either because we cannot be of service to other people if we're letting people do that because our whole cup of love is being drained dry. So how can we possibly be of service? So all for this first step that we want to do is just visualize this beautiful golden bubble of protection around us. This is my sacred space, my sanctuary, and we ask it to be flooded with light and love. And the only thing that can come in is the light and love of source. Anything else is just bouncing back to the other person. And that helps us to be really compassionate. And we also want to be really grounded and fully present. I sometimes like to pretend I'm a tree and there's roots of light going down my body, down my legs, and anchoring to the heart of the planet. So I am really sturdy. I am fully present here now. And so the safest place for a doctor to be when you're dealing, or any of your professionals, with somebody else is in this now moment, not being remorseful or thinking about the past and maybe things that you don't like about it, or being anxious and worried about the future. If you want to protect yourself, be fully present in this moment now with whoever you're dealing with, and that helps to strengthen your protection as well.
Mm. Very fascinating. I love how you describe the creating boundaries on the energetic level, and the one thing that's that I experience a lot is with like clients. I've gotten better, but like clients and just recognizing the drain and kind of managing it, but you know regardless, these situations, they drain you, they take your energy. So how do what are the techniques to replenish your energy? Or oftentimes after that, I feel guilty, or I feel ashamed that I exercise that boundary. How do you deal with those feelings?
Well, first of all, just to step back, we need to acknowledge that we're doing the best we can. And if we're around a lot of negative and balanced energies, I mean, like you walk into a hospital, the energy there, because they don't cleanse and clear those places energetically, is not good. And if you go into a big shopping center with a lot of people and a lot of different kind of energy going on, we're going to be affected by it. We cannot help but be affected by it. So if we're dealing with a lot of people like that, no matter how good our boundaries are, it's going to impact us. And so we just have to have ways to cleanse and clear ourselves. I mean, I do yoga, but another thing I do if I've been out in public or dealing with a lot of people that feel like they're just really having a rough time, I sometimes just take like a 3 minute shower because it cleanses and clears my auric field. It washes away the energy of the day. I put on new clothes. I feel like a different person. And I also do something other else energetically with it. Hopefully it's not too woo-woo for your audience. There's an energy around this called the universal violet flame. And you can just visualize yourself in this violet light. It transmutes and transforms fear into love. You just flood your shower with it, or you put it around your bodies and fields. Just to ask that the negative and imbalanced energies can be cleared from your body and system, and that you can be flooded with light and love where those are being taken away. So that's one way energetically you can do it. Another way is, unless you want to jump in and ask a question, if you want me to stop and take a breath, or I can continue, what would you prefer?
Oh, no, it's interesting. Uh, because the kind of like, what you're describing is how a lot of people ground themselves energetically. Um, the question that comes to my mind when you're discussing this is, do you need because I know a lot of because sometimes I seek a lot of guidance from spiritual mentors, psychics or mediums, and they describe what you're describing. What sort of do you need to be a psychic or a medium, or yeah, be able to access your spiritual guides to do this, or is this
No, no. And first of all, I mean, a psychics are just connecting with the astral realm, there's a lot of, which is there's a lot of fear in there. And a channel is channeling dead people, but usually we want them to move on.
yeah.
I can connect with people's hearts. That's probably my gift, but I'm not doing anything woo-woo. You don't have to have special gifts. I mean, I feel that the gifts that I have is because I practiced them for years. It's like
Mm,
if I was choosing, I mean, I've run when I was younger some like half marathons and a lot of 10Ks and stuff. I mean, I could just get out there and do it. I had to practice. And so the same thing with this kind of stuff, with mindfulness or meditation or breath work, we have to practice it. And so the more we practice it, the easier it gets. I also find that if we can find like a group I call of like-minded souls who are also interested in the same thing, and it's not a funky energy in the group, it's like a supportive group. It's nice to do things together because in the energies of the world now, if we come together in groups of like-minded souls with a similar purpose, I want to get better at mindfulness. I want to get better at breath work. I want to get better at grounding. Um, and you feel comfortable in that group and it feels like it's supportive, then you're all working together and that synergistic energy helps everyone to move um, forward more quickly. It's not like it's hard being a lone wolf in this world. It doesn't really work very well.
yeah. Um, yeah, really interesting because, like I said, like I think what and the other question I'm going to have for you is highly sensitive people, but I'm a HSP as well and empath, and you know, emotions easily transfer onto me, and it sometimes, like especially strong emotions, it really unsettles me. It's like I'd
Right.
rather not be, even if it's like, well, I guess positive is a, that doesn't really unsettle me, but if it's very strong emotions, it really jars me. It just kind of it's very unsettling, and
Yeah.
so where does where does the empath, the intuitive, um, the HSP fit into all of this, especially in this chaotic world that, when you're describing those malls and all those, like those really loud and just very, just it's very disorienting. It's almost like
Yeah. Well, first of all, the first thing is that I'm like that too, and I always felt like I was a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. And there's a lot of energies out there that are like separation energies that want people to look at the differences in each other instead of the similarities and keep people apart that really have a lot of similarities that can work together for the common good. So I just say, I mean, I won't cuss on the show, but I don't let the jerks get me down. There's no way I'm going to allow that kind of negative and imbalanced energy that's on this planet to cause me to contract, to cause me to play small. And so, two things that you can do to help yourself here. One is I every day I release any energy that's not about me and not about love back to its original source with love. So if there's any energy in my body or feels it's not mine, I command you to leave now and I flood myself with light and love because what you're doing with all of these gifts you have is you're taking on other people's negative stuff.
Mm,
And sometimes it's like pushed on you because they want you to contract and be small. They don't like bright lights. And so it's important that we're a bright light because we model for other people that there's hope in the world and there is a different way. So just I'm releasing this energy that's not about me and not about love back to them, and it has to leave now. And I'm flooding myself with the light and love of source. And the other thing that we can do is just visualize like a golden cylinder coming down around our bodies and cutting any energetic cords we have from any person, place, or thing that are not about love. And I do that every day, bunches of times a day, because every time you think about someone, they think about you. You get connected with the news and you're upset, or you're involved in some sort of sports game. Sports games, if you love a certain sport, you really, really love it, you are connected with everybody that loves it. So it's important to cut those energetic connections, or we are going to be bombarded by those energies. And I'd like to share one more thing to do as well. There are also energetic connections that we have that cannot be cut. Our genetic ones from our genetic family, any sexual relationships we've had, we have energetic connections with those people while we're both alive. And we're also connected because we're in a body to the mind of humanity, the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind of humanity.
Mhm.
That is scary. So I just flood all of that with a violet flame. I ask the violet flame to flood those energetic connections every day to cleanse and clear them of negative and imbalanced energies. So you can listen to this again if you don't remember it all, and same with your audience, because if you're a professional like a doctor or any kind of person that's working with other people, you obviously want to serve. You obviously have some abilities that are intuitive and empathic, and we don't want to get those squashed down and contracted because we're in a world that doesn't necessarily appreciate what we do.
Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. The other, so the other question is this this idea of boundaries and intention setting, and um, what how can people find out more about you, and find out more about the work that you do, check in your social media and work with you.
Well, thank you. So in the US, my phone is 720-936-2634. And even when I'm traveling internationally, I still get texts. And you can check me out at my website at Jewel Consultancy, Jewel consultancy.com. And if they mention your show, I'm happy to schedule a discovery session for free. You just have to text me to do that because through my website, it costs money. So I would love to do that if they have questions. I know that I talk fast when I'm on these things, so it's hard to remember it all, but I do really feel passionate about helping professionals who are helping people all the time and feel really blasted and worn down by those energies. And I get it. When I was a young attorney, the first kind of law I practiced was family law, and I was appointed by the court in a bunch of guardian ad litem cases to represent children that
Mm.
had been abused or had parents who were alcoholics or druggies. And I had none of this stuff I'm talking about, none of this. And I was slammed. I was totally on the ground. I ended up being a commercial attorney. I couldn't do it anymore. So I'm really passionate about helping people that are in the helping professions so that they don't have to drop out of something they love, or maybe they want to do something else if they don't have to and they want to continue because they feel so energetically blasted, by what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, your journey reminds me of a lot of myself, because I hate, oh, I love medical education, but I hated the hospital. It just all this, like, just chaos and just all this random just nonsense just coming at you every day, 24/7. And so it's really interesting to see how the work you do plays out with clients. For all the audience, let's thank Arlene for coming on and sharing these her gifts and her expertise. And be sure to give her socials a like and follow. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful to talk to your group. That's a whole new thing for me. So I really appreciate your invite.